Good day guys, we are the Capacity Planning Group. So for today's video, ang i-discuss namin is about capacity planning. So for today, ano nga ba yung i-discuss natin? So, capacity planning in relation with agribusiness, which is our chosen or our plan to be a business is the fresh mushroom and processed mushroom products. So, what is capacity planning? So, capacity planning is the process of assessing all available production resources as machinery, employees, and work manufacturer to determine if we will be able to fulfill the current and future consumer demand. So, basically, this is where you start. Let's say you are planning to have, for us, we're planning to have this business, which is the fresh and processed mushroom. So, we will start from this. It means like you're starting from scratch. So, wala muna lahat. And you're gonna plan ahead of time what you're gonna need during the planting of the mushroom, after planting it, and even selling it to your consumer. So, that's the capacity planning. From the start and to the end, you should plan what will happen to your business. And what are the outlines of this discussion? So the outlines will be the importance of capacity decision, definition and capacity measure, determining capacity requirements, developing capacity alternatives, and break-even analysis. So, bakit nga ba mahalaga yung capacity planning, or why this is important for a certain business, small or big business? So, why study capacity planning? So, first thing first, alam naman natin na time is gold, cliche but true. So, in here, we will be able to maximize our time. If we know what to do for today and the next day, then our time won't be wasted. So we wouldn't have empty hours or vacant hours to do nothing. So every single slot of the time you have a thing to do if you have planned everything with the help of capacity planning. So the second one is the minimize limited resources. If we identify the tasks and projects that is stated, resources can execute well, matching work available to the resources to satisfy present and future needs. So, if we have limited resources, this is important as well because we will be able to divide what we have. Like in your everyday life, if you only have 1,000 pesos and that's your only money for the week, you'll be able to divide it for the 7 days, and every day you have a meal that is already planned within your budget. Just like that. And third one is balance, and it also ensures you're matching what you need with what you have before your project kicks off, and helps you deliver work on time, on budget, and on scope. So for this one, it's like grocery day. Like grocery day, if we will compare this to a business that is starting to kick off, like us, if we're going to have this mushroom business, before we start, we're like going to a grocery with a list of what we need. So if we go to the place or the grocery, we'll be able to buy everything that we need only. So if we have that list, we will be able to follow and buy everything that we'll need before kicking off, during, and after. So that's really a big help for balancing out everything. Your resources, your time, your money, and everything. So what are the types of capacity planning? First, tools. This is one of the most important part of capacity planning is tools. Because with the help of tools, it makes our life easier. Like your washing machine, that's a tool or machine that can help with easier laundry. So in agribusiness, that would be like your implement, your harvester, or the processing machine, we're going to pack your product. So that's important to know if you'll need that. Next one is the workforce. Syempre, even we have machineries or tools, this won't work without the help or aid of a man himself or a farmer. So with this, we will be able to know how many people will need before we start, during, and after our agribusiness. Or what, as well as with this type of capacity planning, which is the workforce, we will be able to know as well if we're going to hire more workers during peak season or downsize workers during off-peak season if necessary. So for the product itself, a type of production planning that entails calculating production capacity and personal requirements to ensure that your supply chain is ready to meet the demand. So the product itself, let's say we'll need 1,000 bags of 1 kilo, 1,000 bag of mushroom, 1 kilo each to supply, let's say for example, 5 barangays. So we should be able to know how much product we'll need, or more or less, or much better, we have excess just in case there will be additional demand during the harvesting or the production of the product itself. So what are the benefits of the capacity planning? So first one is maximize utilization. Get more done with the same amount of people. So if we plan everything, like we have only 5 or 10 farmers, if they will know what to do for the day, the next day, or let's say for the entire week, so there will be no vacant hours or boring time, I guess, and they will be able to maximize their time every single day. So there will be no wasted time if we do the capacity planning. Second one is real-time data. Accurate information on the team availability. So with here, if we plan everything ahead of time, we'll know the schedule of the people if they need to have errands. So if they'll know they will work for like Monday to Friday, so they won't do errands during that time. If they know ahead of time, if that time is allotted to work day already. Next one is better planning. Know the demand for the resources. So for this one, siyempre, it is always important that you have the materials to start or to kick off, even before or during, because sometimes resources are not ready available on the area. But if you have planned everything, you'll be able to have these resources right away if you have already dealt or talked with someone before your business kicked off. Fourth one is protect your farmers. Help your farmers to avoid burnout so they can still have a quality life and work balance. So this is one of the most important thing. Work and life balance, especially with our farmers. So if we have planned everything, like I've said earlier multiple times, if we have a fixed schedule for them, like Monday to Friday they will work, and during weekend there will be a shifting on schedule. Some people will have the day off during Saturday, Sunday, and some will have a Monday or Tuesday. And during their work hours, they should have like 15 minutes break, 1 hour lunch. So that's good. So they won't get burnt out. And that's important, because if we have burnt out farmers or workers, that will result to low productivity. But if they have time to like relax for a moment or chill, they will be more productive, and that will result to more revenue for the agriculture business. So last one for this is organize your time. As I have said earlier, this is important because we will know what's coming and we will be able to prioritize accordingly. Let's say for example we have deadlines, and that would be like 10 projects for like our work in school or assignments or laboratories. If we have a schedule on like today it's April 27. We have a schedule of due date during May 1, May 2, May 3, May 4, and May 5. We'll prioritize first the May 1, then the May 2, the May 3, the May 4, the May 5. So if we have plan, we will be able to prioritize accordingly, and we will be able to finish on time without cramming. So next one. Next one is still the benefits of capacity planning. So identify inefficiency in the farm process. So here, with the help of capacity planning, it's like brainstorming that you will be able to see what will work and what will not work. So this is like brainstorming. We'll know and we'll check what will work and what will not. Before our agribusiness kick-off, or even during, we'll see if it's working or not. So we'll be able to work on it in the next time that will start a new business, or when you start again making the product itself. So increase delivery capacity. So this is important. If we have, like I've said earlier, if we have 10 projects and all the deadlines will be for next week, it's like making your product itself. So if you will be able to finish everything on time, you'll have more time to work on another project or laboratories that you'll need, or that will be deadline on the next few weeks. So that's like making your product as well. If you have made the product to meet the demand for the coming week, you'll be able to make more that will be able to cater say more demands of customers that will need the product. Third one, reduce output stock. So this is important as well, to reduce your output stock. This means kumbaga yung lumalabas na stocks sa paggamit ng raw materials and everything. So that's important na mabawasan siya. Pag nabawasan siya, mas maliit yung cost, mas tataas yung revenue for the agribusiness. Let's move on with the importance of capacity decision. The first one is impact on the ability of farmers to meet future demands for producers and products and services. So with this, if we have the right number of people, the right tools and machines, and the number of products that we need to work on, we will be able to reduce the output as much as possible. So if we have the right number right now to work on the certain product, we will be able to be productive as much as possible to meet the current and future demand of the product and services itself. Number 2, affects operating costs, capacity. Affects operating costs, capacity, and demand must be matched to minimize operating costs. So if we know the capacity or kapasidad ng ating agribusiness, and we'll be able to match it on the demand of our target customer, which is, for example, Endang, and that would be a good thing. So we'll be able to reduce the operating costs. Because if we would like to suddenly expand to serve another municipality like Trece or Silang, that would be cost impacting to the company, and that will possibly resolve the bankruptcy if we push that. So we should know our capacity as an agribusiness to meet the demand of our target customer. Number 3, determinant of initial costs. The greater the capacity of productive unit, the greater its cost. So for this one, with the help of the capacity decision, we'll know how much money we'll spend when we kick off as a business. And if we'll know how much money we'll need, so we will be able to divide what we have and will be able to meet the needs of the agribusiness itself. So we will be able to be a successful agriculture business. Number 4, it's a long-term commitment, and once implemented, it will be impossible to modify without facing a major cost. So for this one, as I have said earlier, or if we have planned everything and all of a sudden, let's say for example, you're going out with your family and suddenly a friend of yours said kung gusto mong gusto mong mag-inom like that, and bigla kang sumama. So kung i-compare siya in real life situation, magsasuffer is pwedeng magalit yung family mo sa'yo like that. Kung sa business naman, kung bigla kang magbabago ng plano, like kunwari with the mushroom business, in the first place, or what you have planned is you're going to just sell fresh mushroom and crispy mushroom, and all of a sudden during in the middle you'd like to sell burger patties, you'd like to sell to a different area which is too far from your current location. That will be a really great cost for your company. It will result to loss of revenue. So we should stick to the plan and never go astray. Number 5, affects the agribusiness competitiveness, and this will be connected to number 4. So if suddenly we would like to make another product because we have seen the potential, that will impact the company costs, and it will result to loss of revenue and as well as competitiveness. Because if the company is not focused on your plan initially, then you will lose your competitiveness because your company will fall its revenue. Number 6, affects the ease of management. So for this one, if, as I have said, if you have already planned the number of people or farmers that you need, and suddenly you'll expand during or in the middle or before ending, that would be very, very bad for the agribusiness or the business itself, because that would consume a lot of time and resources for the company. So if we have stick to the plan, then managing everything will be a lot easier. And our next topic would be discussed by Mr. Jas.
Define and measure capacity. Volume of production an agribusiness is capable of determined by many factors: farm size, number of farmers, etc. Dito nalaman kung gaano ka-capable ang production ng isang agribusiness. Madalas dito nakikita kung gaano kalaki ang farm or size ng machineries. Theoretical application. Theoretical capacity is the level of production that a manufacturer could achieve if all of its equipment and activities run at peak efficiency all of the time. Ideal capacity is another term for ideal capacity. Ito yung production na kayang ma-achieve ng isang manggagawa or manufacturer if ever ma-reach na to yung binigay na oras na kanya para matapos activity, o kaya naman ay masira yung equipments na gagamitin or ma-reach ng equipment yung kakayanin nitong gumana. The word itself, which is theory, parang haka-haka level amount ng production ang kayang magawa ng isang manggagawa if ever ma-reach ng equipment yung efficiency nito. Practical application. The practical realistic level of output that a factory can maintain throughout time is known as practical capacity. It is the theoretical maximum amount of output minus downtime for ongoing equipment maintenance, machine setup time, scheduled personal time off, and other factors. Ito yung pinagsama-samang theoretical amount of capacity minus downtime for ongoing equipment maintenance, scheduled personal time off. Ito naman yung pinaka-resulta ng isang factory, hindi na ito haka-haka unlike theoretical application. Demand-based measure. Measure normal, average demand for an organization product using existing capacity. Ito yung average na demand para sa organization product gamit na yung existing capacity. Budgeted, period-specific demand for an organization using existing capacity. Demand para sa organization product using existing capacity. Unlike normal demand, ito naman yung budgeted. Naka-budget na, may specific time kung kailan ito gagamitin.
Determining capacity requirement. So, una, capacity requirements planning o CRP is the process of specifying the level of resources, facilities, equipment, and labor force size that best supports the enterprise's competitive strategy for production. So, ito ang proseso ng pagpapakilala sa kapasidad ng produksyon ng isang kumpanya at kung matutugunan nito ang mga layunin sa produksyon nito. So, nakakatulong din ito sa isang kumpanya na malaman kung matutugunan nila ang pangangailangan para sa produkto nito. So, yun. Sunod ay yung why is it critical. So, it's a critical management tool as it helps the agribusiness to know if it can meet the demands for its product or services. So, ito ay isang critical na gamit o tool sa pamamahala dahil tinutulungan nito ang isang agribusiness na malaman kung kaya ba nito na tugunan yung mga hinihinging produkto o serbisyo nito. Yun lang. So, sunod yung why CRP is necessary. So, it gives a clear picture of ability of the company to meet its customer demand. It helps determine how much the company must invest in its employees, equipment, and materials. So, it helps to find the company's place in the market. So, ito, nabibigay nito ng malinaw na larawan ng kakayahan ng kumpanya na matugunan kung ano ba yung pangangailangan ng customer. Tapos nakakatulong ito upang matukoy yung kung magkano ba yung puhunan na ilalaan sa materyales, sa mga empleyado. Short capacity requirements planning implication to success. Short-term success. The extent to which an agribusiness is prepared for the frequent up and downs in client demand has a significant impact of monthly and quarterly figures. So, ito yung malawakang paghahanda ng isang agribusiness para sa pagbaba at pagtaas ng demand. Tapos may malaking epekto sa buwanan at quarterly na benta. So, yung sunod naman is yung long-term success. Can assist agribusiness in determining how much it will invest in its personnel, materials, and equipment. So, yung long-term success naman, ito ay maaaring makatulong sa agribusiness sa pagtukoy kung magkano ang ipupuhunan nito sa mga tauhan, sa materyales at kagamitan.
Capacity requirement planning producers. Agribusinesses typically construct their own capacity requirement plans based on a variety of factors, including the industry and the sector in which they operate. However, we may divide CRP into three basic components: defining service level requirements, examining present capacity, and future planning. Defining service level requirements. Establishing workloads. Organize workloads according to who is doing the job, the type of work completed, or the work process. A firm might divide its work into categories and quantify users' expectation for how that work gets done. Determining the unit of work. For each section of work, provide a definition of satisfactory service. A workload assesses the resources required to the task, and a unit of work measures the amount of work completed. Examining present capacity. Compare the measurements of CLA reference items to their goals. Examine how the system various resources are being used. Determine which workloads are most resource intensive. Determine where each workload spend the most of its time to gain insight into which resources consume the most response time for each workload. Base a future plan on forecast processing requirements to prevent overwhelming the system. Establish the amount of income work expected over the period of specific quarters. Configure the optimal system for satisfying service level for this period.
Dito naman sa developing capacity alternative, nandito yung to enhance capacity management, the following approach to capacity alternative could be developed. Kasama dito yung designing flexibility into this system, and the other one is differentiating between new and mature products or services. Kasama rin dito yung taking a big picture approach to capacity changes, and another one is to preparing to deal with chunks of capacity, and another one is the attempting to smooth out capacity requirements, and also dito sa developing capacity alternative, it means once a company has identified its capacity requirements for the future, and the next step is to develop alternative ways to modify its capacity. And one alternative is to do nothing and reevaluate the situation in the future. And also, there are three types of capacity, and the categories is like the design capacity, effective capacity, and actual capacity. And also the basic that must be kept in mind while developing capacity alternatives, and when considering capacity planning within a company, three keys inputs should be considered. There are three inputs like the kind of capacity to be determined, and how much the product will be needed, and when will product will be needed. And yun nga, nandito yung designing flexibility into this system, and and another one is yung pagdi-differentiating between the new and mature products or services, and another one is taking a big picture approach to capacity changes, and also preparing to deal with chunks of capacity, and the lastly in developing capacity alternatives is attempting to smooth out capacity requirements. And also they included the break-even analysis. In the para dito sa break-even analysis is a financial computation that compares the cost of new business, service, or product to the unit sell price to figure out when you break even. In other words, it shows when you have sold enough units to cover all your expenses. And another one is in agriculture, the break-even price refers to the per unit cost of production. As commodity price takers, farmers develop marketing plans to obtain a price that is higher than their per unit cost of production. And also that is the break-even analysis and master production. And also dito naman sa break-even analysis, ito naman yung financial calculation that weighs the cost of new business, service, or product against the unit sell price. Determine the point which you will break even. In other words, it reveals the point at which you will have sold enough units to cover all your costs. And that's it, and thank you.